and welcome to another round of Sports Views. Tonight I'm reviewing Columbus Crew 3, New York Red Bulls 2 in the MLS Cup Playoffs 2020 Eastern Conference Quarterfinal. The winner of this game will go on to face the winner of Toronto FC versus Nashville SC on Tuesday, on November 29th. Don't know if that's going to be 2 o'clock or 7 o'clock, but it'll be that day. The goals were as follows. In the 23rd minute, Caden Clark with a banger. Harrison Alfool makes a mistake defensively. Falls to Caden Clark. He shoots past Eloy Room to make it 1-0. Then in the 26th minute, Pedro Santos gets a penalty, gets taken down in the box. He takes his penalty, puts it past Mayara to make it 1-1. Then in the 46th minute, right off the restart after halftime, Darlington Nagbe scores to make it 2-1. Then in the 67th minute, Jossie Zardes scores off a header to make it 3-1. Then in the 90th minute, Brian White gets a consolation goal to make it 3-2. And that's the way it would end. Columbus Crew go through pretty dominantly, I would have to say. The stats were as follows: 17 to 15 shots, 11 to 4 shots on target, 47% possession to 53% possession, 358 passes to 393 passes, 68% pass accuracy to 73% pass accuracy, 10 fouls to 14 fouls, 0 yellows to 3 yellows, no red cards either side, 4 offside to 1 offside, 5 corners to 5 corners, actually, 5 to 5. Looks like a 3 there. 5 to 5. So it was even. So even though Columbus had a better game offensively, they scored more goals, they pressed harder, New York had a better defense. Columbus made defensive mistakes, and that's what let Red Bulls have a chance to at least get it back and push it into extra time. Columbus wasn't great defensively. They made a lot of defensive mistakes. Eloy Room saved them more times than not. Had a foot save right at the end to save the 3-2 win. And obviously, they weren't great defensively, but they kept possession. They tried to press. They went forward. But Red Bulls were a little bit better in the advanced stats, but they still couldn't score. They had possession as well. It was about even. They weren't great, but they were better than what they were earlier on. They scored the first goal. They fell apart a little bit. They came back, but they didn't play a full game. They didn't play a full game. They could not play a full game, and that's what ruined them. They weren't great in the game. They weren't great against Columbus. They tried to push. They couldn't press. They tried to play good defense. Columbus still found ways through. It wasn't tight, but it was good. But Columbus still found ways through. Penalty, of course. Giving up a penalty is bad. Jossie Zardes getting a header. He got a free header. Pretty much free header and in. You can't really... It's not the best way to lose a game. Mayara made mistakes. Room was the better goalkeeper for sure. Now, both teams were pretty even, I would say. Red Bulls were a little bit better by the advanced stats. Crew was a little bit better looking at the score line and looking at the way they played the game. If you were watching the game, they looked, even though the advanced stats didn't favor them, they looked better, besides the defense. Zelarayan looked good. Zardes looked good. I didn't really expect this, the way the game to go like this. I thought Columbus would win, but I thought it'd be more like 3-1, 4-2. But then again, it was 3-1 almost the whole way to the end. Besides not the equalizer, the consolation. So was I right? Besides the consolation, basically yes, I was. Now the problem is, did Columbus deserve to win? Yes. Did Red Bulls deserve to lose? Not really. Not really, but somebody has to lose because it's the playoffs. Struber had a good game as manager, first game as manager for the Red Bulls. Sadly enough, it came in the playoffs. Sadly enough, it came at a time when you really shouldn't want to have a first match as a manager in a league. You're basically trying to save their season. And you could be like, yeah, I know what I want to do. I know my 11. I know my tactics. Against a team like the Crew, wasn't enough. And they paid the price. They paid the price. You saw what they were. They paid the price. And what happened was supposed to happen. I cannot say it was great. Wasn't a great match. This match was a definite palate cleanser after that train wreck of a New York-Orlando match. Good match, but a train wreck, especially at the end. Did a live stream for that, by the way. So if you want to check that out, check that out. But this was a very tight match, a very close match. Both teams played well, and they played good enough to go through on a normal day or get a result on a normal day. But this is the playoffs. It ain't about results. It's about winning. And Columbus did that. They did what they had to do to win. It's what we call the Tim Bezbatchenko effect. And now, they're in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And Toronto's part of the bracket. They are probably going to Rentschler Field for the Eastern Conference semifinal now. We could lose to Nashville, and they host Nashville at MAPFRA Stadium, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, that's going to be a big game. But now I have to do the if I were yous. Red Bulls fans, if I were you, they have to make some changes. And you're going to have to be happy with a semi-rebuild, if not a full rebuild. Probably more of a semi-rebuild because they have the academy, and their academy is still good. Look at Caden Clark, for example. There you go. Drew Yearwood. I don't think it'll be a full rebuild. And Velo. I don't think it's going to be a full rebuild, but they need to get a striker. They were listless. They didn't have an identity. Reason why Armas got sacked. They will have an identity sooner rather than later. They will be better sooner rather than later. The question is what is going to make them better? They need a striker. They need, I'd say, a Kamar Lawrence type right back. They need a better right back. They need a midfield. Kaku probably needs to go. It's just as simple as that, really. The Red Bulls need a little bit. They need to make a change. They need to make changes, and you need to be ready for a reload, if not a semi-rebuild. So it's going to be a trying time, but you'll be back sooner rather than later now. I would never say back, but you'll be in the pack. How about that? Yeah. Now, Columbus fans, if I were you, get used to this. Get used to this, because... And when I say get used to this, I mean deep playoff runs, good investment. This team makes you happy now, doesn't it? Tim Bezbatchenko is doing what he's supposed to do. Enjoy the new stadium. Enjoy this. Probably the last playoff match at MAPFRA Stadium for sure. But, because even if they get past Toronto or Nashville, probably Toronto, they're going to have to go through the Union. Where's that? Subaru Park. But with it, this is probably the last playoff match at MAPFRA Stadium. And a good way to send it off, you know? Pretty good way to send it off, you know? Get used to this. Tim Bezbatchenko is going to get you more of this, I'm sure. So, keep on keeping on. You're going to like it. Trust me. It's going to be a fun time. So, with that said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell all your friends. Tomorrow, I have a live stream reaction for Sporting Kansas City versus Minnesota United and RSR for Colorado, or San Jose, Sporting Kansas City versus San Jose Earthquakes, and then RSR for Minnesota United versus Colorado Rapids. Yeah, so 2 things. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace.